Hi, how are you today? I'm dealing with losing some friends who passed away. Actually, one just passed away at my very same age of 75. And, well, what happened is that he's a doctor here, a very kind doctor, and he took took the COVID beginning when people were dying and first getting COVID. And he was the main man that would, I want to say, diagnose them, treat them. Now, I will say that I never went to him during this time. I didn't know that he was in charge of so much of the COVID program of healing people here. I went to my internist during the three times that I got COVID. And not to bring up a bad subject, but I have long COVID right now. So my energy level is at its height right now. And that's why I do things this time of night, which it looks like it's 10:16 p.m. on October the 20th, 2024. Well, let's talk about what I had to eat tonight. Well, we'll talk about a lot of other stuff. Had chili. Had a bowl of chili for $5. I had a mini hamburger for I think it was $2 as a side. And what else did I have? Oh, I had something special to drink. We won't go into that, will we? Not tonight. Um, this one girl comes up to me. She usually waits on me, and she said, "I didn't see you come in, or I would have come and greeted you." I said, I crawled underneath your door so nobody would see me. Crawled underneath the door like a worm. She says, it seems like I've known you a long time. I said, that's because I was a movie star. You knew me when I was a movie star. Also, when I played the guitar and sang songs and was a rock and roll singer, I said, you remember those days, don't you? And that's why I look so familiar. So we got a good laugh out of that. It's strange how time slips away. And most people watching me are about my age and older or younger by a little bit. But it's strange when we look back and we were in our 20s and 30s, and now look at us. We're in our 60s or 70s, in my case, 75. It's shame when I look back at the doctors I knew and the veterinarians that took care of my cats. They work too hard. They're not around anymore. The veterinarian died around 50 years old. Dr. Hostler died, he's the one I mentioned earlier, died at 75. And that was like stabbing me with a knife. And what else we got here? Oh, let's talk about hospitals. Um, I have a friend that's 95 that won't go into the hospital under any condition, even though he had pneumonia twice. Why? Because he says and feels you're more likely to get sicker there because of all the diseases. So he's 95. I'm not going to argue with him. He's going to be 96 in January. How can you fight that? Well, let's talk about let's talk about life at 75. About waking up in the morning and you're so tired you don't want to get up even at noon. That's that's the baseline where I start waking up. And but you got to understand, I read books until up to 2 o'clock in the morning. And I read biographies. These are stories about people who have lived in the past, mostly musicians, well, entertainment people. I'm reading one for the second time right now that I mentioned last night, Leonard Cohen. He was my all-time best poet and singer. And if you put Leonard Cohen in YouTube, you'll find out why. Put in Leonard Cohen live in London, and you can see a 4-hour concert. Now, Leonard Cohen, Cohen, live in London. He made a comeback. Let me tell you about his comeback. What's so important about it? He decided to retire, and I'll make this short. He decided to retire, and when he came out of retirement, his manager and possibly former lover had embezzled all of his retirement money that he made as a singer since he started. Well, I say all but 1,000 or so, few thousand. She had millions. And so he comes out of retirement. Well, he was already in retirement. He comes out, and here he is, about 65, 66, 67. And broker calls, stockbroker, money manager calls. You don't have any money left. Your manager took it all. He said, what am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what he did. He had this lady that was with him from the very beginning when he started his band, Sharon Robinson. She put together some lyrics that he had. He wrote poetry, and then from the poetry he put it together in songs. From songs he would polish the songs up over and over. So he wasn't in the shape. He was not in the mental attitude for doing anything creative. Sharon says, I'll take over. She took over, and I I I was looking for his albums for years. I didn't know that he had retired. Well, here comes a new album. You'll love this title. It's called 10 New Songs. 10 New Songs. Well, I bought two copies of it. Didn't aim to. Bought one. Didn't know I had bought it after I watched it once or listened to it once, and a couple months later, I went and bought it again. I don't know where the second copy is. 10 new songs. Talking about a knockout title. Would you buy would you buy my album if I came out with 10 new songs? How about 10 new jokes? Uh, Sony, I think that was the one that scratched their head on this one. Sony Records. They were big one time. I think they had just taken them over from Columbia Records. So they scratched their head and thought, this ain't gonna fly. You're calling your new CD 10 new songs? And you've been in retirement for almost 10 years? Who do you think's going to buy this thing? Were they wrong? Took off worldwide, mostly in Europe and in other countries. He's always been slow to catch on in America. They didn't like him because he didn't start singing and recording till he was 35. They said you got to be a good-looking, beautiful woman with a beautiful voice, and you ain't that. You're just a 35-year-old wannabe. Yep, wannabe. Well, that song that took off, and the songs are really good. But then he started coming out with more of them. Let me tell you about that album. He didn't have a studio at that time because he was retired. So he went in an attic with Sharon Robinson, and in the attic behind his apartment, I think he was in Los Angeles at the time. He had a small rental. No, not rental. Probably bought the house. He at least had that kind of money. He had also had a house and still does in Montreal, Canada, but he's dead. But it's still his. So his son and daughter probably has taken it over. So Sharon Robinson really took the reins here and made that 10-song album. It went over, and believe me, at that age, in his 60s, mid 60s, everybody wanted him to come and perform. Mostly other countries. I don't know what's wrong with America with Leonard Cohen, but mostly other countries. And he'd go over there and sell out, always sell out, sell all of his CDs. And at that time, he had many other CDs before he retired. So it started, the momentum started going. And he comes out with another one. I buy it. Another CD. I buy it. Another CD. And as I mentioned in probably the tape last night or the my program last night, the time came when he was around 83, and he had medical problems, to say the least, but we won't go into those right now because I gotta tell you what's funny. He goes into promote. He always does a pre-promotion on a new album, and he wrote a new CD and his last CD called "So You Want It Darker." So you want it darker. He was so sick and so close to dying that he said to him, "We're just going to do a couple of interviews. I'm going to do a pre-promotion concert." And he barely made it without looking like he was falling apart and dying. And this is what Sony said. Sony Records said the music field has completely changed. As you and I know, you download songs that you want. The music field has totally changed. But we all, the people who worked at Sony, had to come in and meet this person, Leonard Cohen, who was responsible for their sales. Apparently, he was the only one that was just knocking the sales out of the ball game. Absolutely. So he goes back to his home, and we won't go into. I'm still rereading his final days, but at that point, he didn't know, or around that time when he did that last CD called "So You Want It Darker," he didn't even know when he was doing it if he was going to complete it because of his medical problems. But he did, and he went to Sony in New York and he did a pre promotion deal where he met with the people, did interviews, and flew back. And that was the last of his promotion of that album. And when I got that album, I listened to it. I said something's going on here. You want it darker. What's going on to make a person title a CD "So You Want It Darker" when your earlier CD, when started your tours was called 10 New Songs. Well, if you want to know the title of the book, it's a guy by a guy that was friends with him for 40 years. Just email me. I'll put the email at the end of this. Um, the reason I'm doing this tonight isn't because I aim to do Rod McEwen. I liked him too, but not because of Leonard Cohen. But I got so many good comments last night. When I got up in the morning, I was going to delete what I did last night, and I had a lot of views. Not only a lot of views, but beautiful comments. I couldn't believe it because I had said I'm closing it down because I don't have a decent studio. I don't have a good microphone. I don't have good video. And I'm using a laptop, a HP laptop, and it looks like it's too light. It's not dark enough right now to please me. And I remember two people saying, no, the studio doesn't matter. If you're listening tonight, I read your words, and that's why I'm on tonight. Now, one of y'all subscribed. I know because I have so few subscribers. You can tell I don't do this to try to make money. I do it because um, I was a writer. I was a writer starting in 1969. Wrote my first book. And now, having gone through all these years and possibly have published 15 to 17 books, and the last four are on Amazon if anybody wants to take a look at the covers, or go to wordpress.com, put jimwortham.wordpress.com. Oh my gosh, if you go there, you're going to get some heavy duty bad poetry. Bad poetry. The reason why I did WordPress was to make myself write again. And there'll be times I wrote every day, there'll be times I didn't write for a month or two. It's all there. Over 200, maybe 300. I think it's over 200. But now you know all about me. I'm on Facebook too. Feel free to be my friend. If you're my friend, send me a messenger message, or or go and send me a message on email saying that you saw me on YouTube and I'm crazier than anybody you ever knew, and you'd like to be my friend, and I'll make you my friend. But hit, you know, that you want to be my friend. But at least let me know, because I get a lot of robot invitations to be friends. These are robots that are, for some reason, trying to collect new friends. I don't know what they aim to do with them, but I can sort of detect them. Okay, this has been fun. I didn't know that I was going to talk about Leonard Cohen again. Is there anything else I need to say here? Uh, I told you what I ate. That's very important because I'm trying to lose weight. So I'm going with this idea of calories in and calories out, and that makes me more conscious of losing weight. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you will, leave me a message. The two I got yesterday made my day this morning. Whoever left them last night, I read them first thing this morning and responded. And you can go and see how I responded to them. Okay, I'm sharing too much, aren't I? This is the way I flow. This is my style. If you want to, if you want to hit the subscribe button, I suspect it's there on your end too. Feel free to. I can always use one more subscriber. One day I'm going to get up to 200. If you like it, feel free to hit like. I noticed I had a few likes yesterday. Don't know why. Okay. You have a great night and a great day tomorrow and a great week. It's the beginning of the week. So, here we go. Good night.